FC Augsburg. The club has spent most of its history in the lower tiers of German football. However, that changed in 2011 when the Bavarian club won promotion to the Bundesliga. They have spent the last decade in the top tier and qualified for Europa League after a 5th place finish in the 2014 and 2015 season. However, since then, the club has been in the lower half of the table and even fighting relegation the past few seasons. The club has brought in a young American striker, Ricardo Pepi, who is the number 9 for an exciting US men's national team at the age of 18. In this rebuild, we will see him attempt to bring Augsburg some of the trophies that fellow Bavarian club Bayern Munich have won. Okay, on the way, welcome to this rebuild. Really excited to put this out. So we're going to see Pepi put in the starting lineup right away in this 4-4-2 next to Andre Hahn. This club obviously doesn't have the most high potential and high rated players. I think this will be a really fun rebuild to do, and I hope you guys stay tuned throughout this. There's some interesting players like Reece Roxford, and Dorsch actually has some decent potential on him, and a few other players that are interesting like Ruben Vargas is a good winger as well. So we'll see some of these players certainly stay on throughout and develop, and we'll make some moves as well. We have Caligari, who is a veteran player in the Bundesliga, is going to be helping us out in this first season, it looks like. Not sure how long he'll stay. So Ricardo Pepi showing great potential, 70 overall, next to the veteran Andre Hahn. And looking at some of the objectives in this first season, finished mid-table, round of 16 in the cup. And I'm just going to let you know that our cup luck was terrible with some of the draws we got, especially earlier on. We were, for the most part, drawing Dortmund, you can see here, and then it was like Bayern Munich, Leipzig. So we could never actually really meet that round of 16 objective, because by the time the round of 16 was around, we were already gone, because round 2 or 3 we'd already be facing clubs who were much better than us. But at the end of this first half of the season in 13th, so really that's kind of how Augsburg has been finishing recently, so not the biggest improvement. Pepi hasn't made the biggest influence yet. He's obviously still a young player, so we see how he does at the end of this season, and some of the other players on the squad do as well. But really nothing too exciting in this first season to show. We're just going to see the progress halfway through and get to the end of the season, where we finished 11th, so that's a better finish in the end than you've seen from the club recently. He's mostly been hanging out in 13th to 15th in the past 5 seasons or so. So that's not too bad. That's progress, and we'll see how things go in season 2. So there's gonna be some interesting stuff going on with transfers in this next season. I'll definitely let you know. We're gonna make one decent transfer as we start out that season, and you're gonna see, unfortunately, some release clauses being met. But looking at the top scorers, so Andre Hahn actually had a good season with 13 goals, and yeah, not too bad. Looking at the assist as well, he's on there in 8th with 5 assists, so it's not that bad of a season from him. Obviously, he's going to be going down in his overall soon, so we're going to have to look for a replacement pretty quickly. At 14 goals, 5 assists, 10 goals and 1 assist from Pepi. Caligari had a good season, 9 goals, 3 assists, but it's obviously, again, another older player. We're going to have to move on. Ruben Vargas with 7 goals and 4 assists is another interesting player. You can see some of the improvement of these players also, kind of looking on the right there. If you want to pause on anyone, just do it. But $20 million in transfer budget. And there's a player we're going to look at, the former teammate of Ricardo Pepi, Jesus Ferreira. He's a player who's also been recently playing for the U.S. men's national team as a striker. He can also play as a cam, which he generally plays for FC Dallas, but he can also play kind of false 9. The shadow striker as a cam is a good role for him, and he can play on the wing. But $15 million, so I think that's a good deal for a player who has certainly tons of potential to do great things in Europe, just like his teammates in Ricardo Pepi. A bit older, obviously, being 21. $15,000 is going to be his wages, so not too bad. And we're going to change the tactics up. We're going to have him playing underneath Pepi, which is what he did in FC Dallas, and we'll see if these two can link up, because actually in real life, the attack was basically these two guys. We're going to have Malone on the right to try to see if he can maybe develop a bit more. He had, obviously, he was pretty well hyped in his youth career. He can maybe try to revive him and his potential. But unfortunately, as I alluded to earlier, some of the release clauses were met for players who I probably should have re-up their contracts and all that to get rid of the release clause, but Gumny, the Polish right back, is going to be gone, along with Uno Kai, who's going to go to Spurs for $30 million. So It's actually not too bad if you want to get into the whole rebuilding and bringing in some transfers. We certainly have some money now to bring in some other players, which we'll do in the January transfer window, because all this stuff happened right as the summer transfer window was ending. But a good amount of money. You can see $40 million just from those two, and about $5 million from Sorensen, Bazi, Peterson. So we have some money to spend. And then Caligari also going to Sampdoria, as he's been kind of going down his overall quite a bit. I think he was about 71 at the moment we sold him. Not going to be able to contribute as much for the squad. So at the halfway point of the season, 21 points in 11th, where we were at the end of the first season. So if we kind of maybe push a little bit higher up in the table, possibly can maybe finish. I think we're about 9 points away from a Europa League spot, so that certainly could happen. We'll see if that does as we're getting in this halfway point in the season. And I mean, for the most part, just the cup, nothing to be said over there. But we're going to get into some of the transfers now. Josep Sutalo, the center back, 73 overall, and he's really got some good physical attributes, 22, so he's still got some room to grow for sure, and we'll see him being one of our first defensive transfers. It's really, we need to kind of strengthen up our defense in general, because Oxford isn't growing too well. We're going to bring in another FC Dallas product, of course, in Reggie Kin, another American. We kind of have that American investor storyline going on, because that is apparently kind of the reason they had the money to go after Pepi, is because this American investor. So we've got someone who he has some familiarity with, a U.S. men's national team player and a former FC Dallas teammate in Reggie Cannon, to kind of help all these guys get immaculated. I can't. My mind cannot speak right now. But in the end, those players come in now, and we're gonna add a winger now, attacking player, in Bermancevic, who's going to be a key fixture in these next few seasons. I think he'll get around probably to the 80 overall mark at best, but we're certainly going to have to upgrade a bit later on if he wants to get to the level of winning titles. But he's kind of on the older end, 24 years old, but he's going to slot into the left wing spot for now. Certainly an upgrade over Malone, as he's 4 points higher. Then I'm going to move Vargas to the right for now. And Ferreira did pick up a knock in that first season. I think he was out for a few months with a hamstring issue. In the end, we did finish, it's just kind of one place higher in 10th. So not too bad. The progress is there, slowly but steadily. So we'll see in the third season how we can improve and what transfers we could possibly make to try to improve the team. Still really defense and CDM spots are kind of the areas I think we need to target. But we certainly need to try to qualify for European football in this next couple of seasons, maybe going a cup run, because you can see again, it did not reach the round of 16 stage. And we did not qualify for European competition, which is apparently what they wanted to do, and we don't have the players to really do that yet. So having tough cup draws certainly didn't help either. But Pepi with a decent season, I mean, 10 goals again. You certainly, from a player who is about 19, 20 now, you would not be too wrong with that. I mean, shit. Vargas had 10 assists though. So you're seeing some of our other attacking players doing fairly well. Even Iago, our fullback, is doing well. But 14 goals and 11 assists from Vargas. Pepi with 10 goals, 2 assists. Dortch with 4 goals, 3 assists. Ferreira, who was hurt, had 4 goals, 1 assist. But we'd like to see a better goal and assist output from him in these next seasons, as we move on to season 3 now. So another season where you could either probably go after maybe a defensive midfielder, maybe a center back, and even maybe a winger. This is probably the areas we really need to try to improve. Goalkeeper is another problem area on the squad as well. But some decent improvement from some of the players. Pepi now up to the 75 overall, showing great potential. Did have the performance review meeting and all that. But in the end, we'll move to the next season and see if there's any decent improvements that can be made. I also am an idiot and not the best at actually actually making sure I'm recording sometimes. So we go halfway through this first season, 6th place at this third season, excuse me. We're in 6th place at the moment on 30 points, so a decent position. And we're getting closer to some of those clubs, kind of the top part of the table. So, I mean, that's really good, and we're making tons of room between the mid-table and lower side. So I think what really is the advantage is not having as much of the cup competitions, but at the end, and one of the transfers we make is for Dennis Mann, because trying to improve over Bermancevic, who is decent, but D-Man, Dennis Mann, 25 years old, 78 overall. We paid about $29 million for him, and he is a very good young player. Pretty hyped up. I mean, I love the man. Just call him D-Man is a wonderful thing to do as well. But 6 foot, kind of a taller winger. He's on the right wing now, so we can move Vargas back to the left, and that gives us some more depth in the end to have some in the attack, which is really kind of the issues if we get into European football. Not having depth is going to be a big problem. But retiring at the end of the season is our goalkeeper at the moment, who is on the older end, and now we have qualified for Europa League. But again, I think the issue is going to be the lack of depth, and I think you could see a struggle maybe in the league next season. But as we get more money from European competitions and possible cup success, we can certainly move on and have a stronger side all around. But again, the cup has been terrible to us. Again, knocked out right away. I think this season it was Leipzig that knocked us out. It was just Dortmund, Bayern, Leipzig. It was the first 4 or 5 seasons who we got matched up against. It was not good. I did not show kind of the end of the season, but in the end, Pepi, 4th in the Golden Boot race, and Dennis Mann actually had 10 goals himself. Ferreira with 9 goals. So the whole attack, incredibly potent. But again, yeah, that's what you love to see. So what was that? Yeah, 4th. There he was. I completely screwed up again and did not show the full goals and assists for this one season, but please forgive me. I am going to sue sometimes. But now moving on to the next season, we're going to be targeting another play for depth here. And Bon, he's played for Werder Bremen for a while. He can play center mid and right back. So he's mostly going to be signed for depth and the possibility of maybe getting a dynamic potential boost and become a really big option as a CDM next to Dortch is kind of the thinking rotation player. So I don't think he's start right away. I still really like Carlos Dressel, so he's going to be a big player. He's probably going to be playing CDM quite a bit for us still. And we did have to go after goalkeeper, so we're going to be another American player in Zach Steffen. I'm sorry for the excess of Americans, but there's an American investor. They have, targeted some American players in the past. They've had Michael Parkhurst, Carlos Grueso, of course, played in it for FC Dallas. So I think them, and that they do have an American investor now, so the connection is there. Pretty big wages is the only issue with him, but he's still just about 29 in the save now, and he's at the 81, 82 mark. So has a much more in depth at the moment as we kind of face the interesting balance of European football. We did get rid of a couple players. Probably shouldn't have done it, maybe in the sense, because we don't have so much in the way of depth. But Jensen left for about $6 million, about $1 million for one of our backup goalkeepers, and spent $9 million on Boom. So it's okay. We're in the Europa League. We have a group with Olympiacos, Zagreb, and Lucerne. So not the most difficult group. We did actually kind of use some of our backup players throughout. And again, we'll see now Leipzig right away in the cup, and we do get knocked out. So it was just ridiculously difficult cup draws right away, rather than being able to play against, some of these second and third division sides. We were immediately coming against top Bundesliga sides, which is not ideal. In the end, we actually had to use kind of our top squad to make sure we get through in the group stage. It was a draw, but thankfully we did have enough to go through the knockout rounds, which is certainly good for the hopes of bringing in some more money to continue to get some players to improve the squad. Just going through on goal differential, I'm guessing head-to-head play as well was the big deal. As I remember this, using a stronger side against Zagreb to get us through. But now halfway through the season, I kind of predicted it. Basically, yeah, that it was going to be tough with having to balance and not having an amazing amount of squad depth or just an amazing amount of players in general. So in the preliminary round, we'll be facing off against Napoli here. See how this result goes. Obviously, I don't have the best squad yet, but if we could try to at least get through maybe the round of 16 quarterfinals, that would be a pretty good result. But unfortunately, Napoli has a much better squad from us. TXL Losel, so they have really solid players. Osmian, McNeil from Burnley, it looks like. So yeah, they have a solid squad, and it's probably much better than us on paper, and it's gonna be difficult against a side like that. In the end, finished 9th, which is not too bad, but unfortunately, that is regression, but still not too far away from one of the Europa League spots we had. 6 points. So I think if we just had the depth that we should have had, we could have finished in one of those Europa League spots. So one of those European spots, basically. Even if it was Conference League, it would have been whatever. But move on to the next season after taking a look at some of these stats, the goal tallies and all that from some of our players, and see how some of our players progressed. You can see that Dennis Mann with 15 goals really had a big season. Pepi with 13 goals. And you see, I think his Daryl DK made the move to Europe as well for Schalke in this save, as I didn't actually put him on West Brom yet. I did record this a bit before all the transfers were announced. But now moving on to assists, you can see that Vargas with 6 assists, a good season from him. And we'll move over to look at kind of the goals and assists itself, along with the growth of some of the players. But 17 goals and 2 assists from Dennis Mann, 17 goals, 7 assists from Pepi, Ruben Vargas with 10 goals, 7 assists, 7 goals and 8 assists from Dorsch, 7 goals, 6 assists from Ferreira, so a much better season. And you can see some of the growth from some of the players. Reggie Cannon has grown quite a bit, Stefan up to the 83, go up in the 80s. So our defense is improving a lot more, but I still think we probably need one more center back to kind of put us over. Ruben Vargas up to the 85, so that's a good improvement there. And Baum unfortunately did not grow whatsoever. Ferreira up to the 80. And Bermanchevich up to the up into the up higher 70s. Pepi up to the 81. So we're doing pretty well for the growth of some of these players, and we have a lot more in the transfer budget thanks to playing European football certainly helps. Now we're gonna look at Nico Schlotterbeck, the 82 overall player, age 25. Of course, he does have a brother as well playing in the Bundesliga. Both came up through Freiburg, I believe, as well. So in the end, we ended up buying him for $45 million, basically. Again, I did not actually record the signing part, but you can see the main purpose is we signed him, going to have him help strengthen up our defense and try to get us through to the, just kind of the next step that we need to make as a club, which is being consistently in those Champions League spots and try to eventually win the league. So slotting in there, 82 overall, a bigger improvement. Next to him is Augsburg. We have some more in the way of Deb Schutalo is going to be there on the bench. But again, almost all of our defense is at the 80 mark, which is a lot better. But we still eventually look like we need to bring in a midfielder to help strengthen up the squad a bit more. Did sell some of our players who are really just kind of on the fringe. So we made about $5-6 million off of them. And that's not too bad, so we'll save some of the extra funds we had left over and see if we can buy some more players in the next season. So no European football here. I think that really helped to just be able to focus on that. And we did try to get away again in the Cup, Borussia Dortmund. In the second round, maybe this will be a different result. But they have a ridiculous squad. You see Erling Haaland, Reina, Bruno Fernandes, Rafinha. Oh no. Yeah, Tielemans, even the McTominay on the bench. In the end, though, halfway the season, in the 4th position, and that's pretty good. And I just do think not having European football is a big advantage for us in some of these seasons where we may or may not have it, or possibly get knocked out early. But a pretty good result, and we could possibly kind of shore up a Champions League spot and have some good progress, because Champions League money will certainly help us to bring in some more players there. But moving on to the end point of the season, 64 points, just finishing in that final Champions League spot. A big result for us to get in that spot. But we finished up with Bayern Munich. I don't know what it is. Like I said, I think I've said it already in this video, but for some reason they really struggle in career mode saves. I don't know what it is, but I think it's because a lot of the players, some of the players they do have are on the older end. So I think once you get longer into your career, they have to do a lot of rebuilding. That's probably what it is in my opinion. But now, looking again at the kind of goals, assist recap, see where some of our players were in the Golden Boot race. But Pepi was 17 goals. Dennis Mann was 16 goals. So our attack is quite potent now. That is pretty awesome to see. In the assist area, Ruben Vargas with 6 assists, so a pretty good season from him. 17 goals, 4 assists from Pepi, 16-4 from Dennis Mann, 6-5 from Ferreira. Ruben Vargas was 6 and 6. Bermanchevich with the 3 goals, 3 assists as kind of a backup option. You see some of the players could grow pretty well. Other players are kind of stagnant, like Reese Oxford, Schlotterbeck, and Schutterlolo have grown quite a bit. Reggie Ken up to the 83. So the defense and Dorsch as well up to the 82. So some good improvements. Ruben Vargas is closing in on possibly hitting the 90s, and Ferreira and Pepi getting closer to kind of the mid 80s, and along with Dennis Mann. So 85 from Pepi, 83 from Mann and Ferreira. So the squad is slowly but surely improving, and I think I am enjoying this kind of slower growth. And we're going to bring in another fullback option, Felix Agu, who did play for Werder Bremen in this career mode save, did end up moving to Nantes. So we'll bring him in as some more cover for the fullback spot. Iago is getting on the older end, and Agu can certainly help us improve quite a bit. So we'll bring him in, finish up that transfer, and I don't know if he's going to start right away, but as we do have some Europa League, the Champions League competition, European football, we want to get through further in the cup. We need some players who can help us out for sure, because at the moment, not doing too hot. But I do think we have kind of a window with Bayern Munich not doing as well. Arne Meyer, who was with us in the first season on loan, we're going to bring him in from Hertha Berlin, as we did finish above them. And I think, kind of in Bundesliga, once you finish higher up in the table, it certainly is realistic to bring in some players from the lower table class. That generally is kind of what happens in the league for the most part. But 4-year contract. And he's going to be slotting into the center mid spot next to Dorsch in this first season. So you can see we actually have the depth now to have 2 solid squads for, cups, and just kind of resting in between matches. As we have kind of one of the youth players, Schneider's our backup cam. We can't completely have 2 squads yet, as we don't have that much depth, but it certainly is going to help as we try to navigate through both European football and trying to finish as high as possible in the Bundesliga and eventually challenge for a title. But I think our attack is certainly getting there. I still think the CDMs and defense could be what kind of makes us slow down in some of our the areas. But in the end, a difficult group with Barcelona, Lyon, Besiktas, but actually had some good luck in the first match against Barcelona. I think that really set the tone for the rest of the Champions League campaign. They do have some players on the older end. I think a couple of players who maybe some youth academy players as well in the squad. Is what I've noticed. Some squads really go youth heavy later on as you go into FIFA. But in the end, again, round 3, Gladbach, not the most amazing side. This is one we certainly should have won, but unfortunately, again, knocked out in the cup. 3-2 loss. It's just like it's not meant to be so far. In the end up going through in the Champions League group, 10 points. Lyon, no chance advancing. Just going to see maybe you can do better result. But then we kind of you can see some of the backup players to help us kind of not just destroy everyone's fitness. Because I do think in simming, for the most part, if you have players who you play too much, a lot of times it does seem like there are just some big injuries that happen to them. But 5th so far, 8 points away from Wolfsburg. And I was like, okay, do we have a chance possibly at winning the title? I don't know. The next match was against Wolfsburg, and we're going to sim. We're going to play some of the important matches, obviously in rebuilds like most people generally do, but we actually grab a big victory to put us 5 points away. But we'll move on to the round of 16 stage. We'll be playing against Real Sociedad, so it could be an interesting fixture, as they do have some players who are pretty solid in career mode. And again, simming is pretty random, and I think that's why I think for the most part, trying to win the Champions League is probably going to take a while for us until we have ridiculously high rated players. I do have, you can see Kessie, I think it's Abu Bakar Kamara, we are some pretty good players for the most part. So 2-2 possibly could do better in the second round, the second leg, in the return leg, and see how this game goes. Could be the one to put us in the next round. Obviously, as much money as possible is what we need to continue to strengthen the squad. But yeah, we'll see for the quick sim, and lose on penalties to Real Sociedad. So that's a tough one. I think we just don't have the best of luck when it comes to cup and Champions League draws. For the most part, I've always in real life think that a domestic league competition should be kind of the most heralded as just how well you do in that should be most important. But here it is, 66 points, 3 points away from Wolfsburg. If we win this match, we put ourselves level, and then it would be kind of a goal differential battle possibly in the final game. And how fitting, the fellow Bavarian club, just about an hour drive away from the WWK arena to Munich. And hey, beating them to end up competing for, just having that one last match to try to win that coveted Bundesliga trophy. We'll see what happens, because I think Bayern Munich has a very interesting squad here. Other players are on the older end, and you'll see actually I think Manuel Neuer is retiring, and we have a pretty strong squad, a young improving squad that can possibly come up with the victory in this match. But it's going to be difficult, and you also want to make sure we actually win by a decent amount, because goal differential, it's just a few goals. If we can win by a couple goals and put ourselves in position in the last match of the season, who knows? But you can see some of the players still on the squad. Alphonso Davies is still there. You saw Kimmich, Florian Wirtz ended up making the move to Munich. But see our squad here: Stefan, Iago, Schlotterbeck, Schutterlo, Cannon, Meyer, Dorsch, Ferreira, Mann, Vargas, and Pepi up top. So on the bench, have some interesting players. We don't really have like kind of a super sub, but Berman Savic is a player who can certainly play that role, and we'll see how he does there. So moving on from Neuer, actually Musso and Ned Davies. Goretzka is playing center back. Kimmich, Tolisso is only about 80 overall, so this squad really is not good. Still have Gnabry, Kunde, but Goretzka at center back. Damsgaard, who's not a terrible player, Charlisson, but it's certainly not the Bayern Munich of old we're seeing right here. And that's where us, kind of living in the same state, just about an hour away, just being able to move into the premier club of this region would be pretty huge. But Stefan with a huge save, perfect positioning, and now we're going to have to try to go on the counter. So Ruben Vargas going to play the ball forward to Jesus Ferreira, who's going to turn. Sorry about the kit clash. I really don't like that you can't choose your kits from the start. You have to go into the menu. But Ruben Vargas now, he's going to cut the ball back to Ferreira. He's going to have a big shot, swatted out to Mann, and he's going to put that in the back of the net. D-Man is the one to put us ahead against Bayern Munich in the 9th minute at home. That is a huge goal. From just $29 million he was brought in, but he's been money for us just in the Golden Boot race almost every season. And Bayern Munich is just not looking like the Bayern Munich of old. Some sloppy passing, positioning, and Dorsch is going to also just really good at tackling and building interceptions, building get the ball forward to Jesus Ferreira. And Pepi splits the defense, ball play over top, and off the half volley, Pepi puts in the back net to make things 2-0, 12 minutes in. Could this be an absolute slaughter of our rivals? We'll see how this goes, but obviously I don't think Bayern Munich will just go down just yet. They have so much talent still in the squad with Wirtz, Charlisson. We'll see how they fare, but a nice karate kick style goal in the end that was from Pepi, showcasing his finishing ability. That is what he can do. If he has the service, he'll put in the ball in the back and then most times there. But going forward, Bayern Munich is going to take advantage of Reggie Cannon's positioning, as well as the positioning of our other left center back was not the best there, and Damsgaard completely destroys Reggie Cannon, puts the ball in the back of the net to make things 2-1. So that's something that could be huge for us with goal differential. Don't want to give up goals, and you'll see them trying to grab an equalizer here in the 55th minute. And Gnabry ends up losing the ball after a good time press from two players there. Pepi playing the ball back here, some good quick counterattack football. Pepi now playing the run of Jesus Ferreira, and the two Dallas teammates, former FC Dallas teammates, linking up to make things 3-1 in the 56th minute. So that is actually beautiful to see the two players who were brought in together in the end, almost season after each other, in a 3-1 victory against our rivals to keep us in pole position to try to win the title. So we'll take a look at the results of the table right before we go in this last match of the season, as we could possibly win the Bundesliga in a very interesting fashion. I do think the fact that there's no one really dominating is a bit weird, but both on 69 points, nice. They do have, just that one goal over us in goal differential. So that's something we're going to have to try to take advantage of in this last match against a weaker side. You can see 14th is going, so we'll see how they fare against us. A lot of the times the lower tier sides are not the best, but actually right away, a poor pass, ball played to Pepi, an excellent finish from interesting angle, going to the opposite side, perfectly hit into that side netting, and 1-0, 2 minutes in. That's kind of the beautiful start you want to see right away. Now trying to maybe go back on a quick counterattack. Meyer playing the ball forward to Ferreira, back to Dorsch, and he's going to look for the ball in the middle, back to Pepi. A ball played to Meyer, back to Ferreira, back to Pepi, who's going to take a perfect touch, hit that one, the ball in the back of the net to make things 2-0 in the 29th minute. And now it's just a matter of maybe scoring as many goals as possible. We actually had Meyer, who was very low in fitness. I remember I subbed him out for Mbom, and unfortunately, they come back right away with some really good football and some weird mechanics, trying to clear the ball away, but players running into each other. Not a very good clearance whatsoever. The ball falls back. A bad save attempt by Stefan. The ball is parried right away to the defender, and he knocks in the back of the net to make things 2-1. So that could be a huge goal. Wolfsburg was tied at half, but they actually went to lead right at this moment. So that was not good. But now a big win in the midfield. Dorsch playing the ball to Ferreira, and he's going to take a touch. Unfortunately, a big save from the opposition goalkeeper. And now we have to go with this all-out attack. We need to score as many goals as possible. 4-1, 2-1-2. Basically, he's going to have Dorsch sit back. Varda's is going to play some cam. Browncevic is going to be coming. Cevic is going to be coming into the left wing spots. We're just going to be playing some auto-attack football. And right away, Pepi takes advantage of a good run from Ferreira. The opposition was really just going for some... It's just all-out attack, basically. That's one of the issues I feel like in FIFA, just not the best game management from the AI. They just threw everyone forward. We're trying to grab the equalizer, and easy goal for us. And now even again here, looking as they looked for some more goals, ball played over the top to Jesus Ferreira. He's going to have the touch. He's going to look for the cutback, play the ball to Browncevic, and a big goal from him in the 91st minute. We'll see how this goes, because at the moment, Wolfsburg was actually, again, still winning their match. So didn't get any other ticker updates. All we knew was they were winning their match. I think it was 2-1 came up, but that was all. So we'll find out actually right as the whistle blows to see if we have won the title. So it should be an interesting finish to this one with what has been a fun squad to see build. A bit of a luck, and I think that's really what happens when it comes to FIFA for the most part, simming. But it is what it is, man. In the end, looks like they're waiting for the final just word. Have they secured the title? And it just looks like, hey, maybe you just kind of, it is what it is. But in the end, yes, they do all go to the podium. Dorsch is the captain. It's beautiful to see these guys end up grabbing this title. You see Reggie Cannon there, Jesus Ferreira, all these guys who have been here from very early on in this rebuild. Zach Steffen, of course, a lot of American players, but also quite a few players that have been here from the start. Iago as well, Dorsch, and yeah, Ruben Vargas, all deserving of this title they'll be seeing here. But I'm not going to end this rebuild just here yet, as you know, it was a very tight race. We won by 1 goal, so that big late goal is really what put us through, as I'm not sure what the tiebreaker would have been. I think we maybe would have gone through on the tiebreaker, but I mean, we'd have been level on goals for and goals against. I think it would have gone to head-to-head. We did beat Wolfsburg in one of the matches, but I wasn't sure about the first match. So what a big victory in the end that was. And yeah, that is not going to end this here, as we do still want to try to maybe win a cup, and as well try to get Champions League. But Champions League draws have not been kind to us, and we don't exactly have the best side yet. But Pepi with 24 goals, just missing on the golden boot behind another wonderkid Adeyemi. So that's unfortunate, but D-Man, 15 goals, another huge season from him. And of course, Ruben Vargas has been contributing so much with his assists and coming up quite big with the goals as well. But 9 assists for Pepi, huge monster season from Jesus Ferreira with 6 assists as well. And that is a quality season all around. But now moving on with some of the funds we got from winning the title, we're going to bring in Denis Zakaria, so a player who's had quite a bit of experience in the Bundesliga. See if he could try to help us do a Champions League title, as well as maybe repeating in the league. But the league did not go as well. Bayern Munich kind of had a little bit of comeback in the season. I'll just let you know that we did finish second. But in the end, we actually finally get that difficult cup final, which was very elusive to get to for us so far. It very much was. But Zach Steffen, who's been with us here for a while, being showcased and playing here at the Berlin. So he actually brought in Tyler Adams as a backup CDM. I went even just ridiculously American homerism and brought him in just as a backup CDM. But moving on here, Munich actually took the lead early on, but they had a weird red card. AI is weird, but Pepi grabs a goal to make things 1-1. And after that, we would kind of take advantage of the less player they had, the red card, and kind of run away with things to eventually win that title. But thank you everyone who's stayed so far in this rebuild. I really appreciate all the support. I am been doing a lot with my US men's national team channel as well, so that's just kind of a breakdown analysis channel I'll be doing. So if you want to check out that, especially if you're an American, please do so. It's Chalupa1 USM MNT Talk, and I'll be having a lot of content on there as well regarding the US men's national team. Yeah, obviously that's the name of the channel, but yeah, with the main advantage, it was pretty simple. A lot of sweats across, pace, and we'll take advantage of that to kind of walk away pretty handily with that cup. But still, Champions League was elusive, could not get through in the Champions League. Just not enough, I think, as in the overall department as a whole. I do think, not having European competition is kind of a big advantage in this game. For some reason, you just do so much better in Sims, which makes sense because of match congestion and all that. But another title being held here, and we'll move on to what will be the final season of this rebuild and seeing if we can secure the Champions League. If not, hopefully Bundesliga and maybe another Pokal to our name. But first two trophies really in the history of obviously the side in the first division. Obviously have none in the first division. I think even getting promoted Bundesliga, they actually just got the automatic promotion spot. So we're going to strengthen the squad a bit more with Nordi Mukiele, of course a Bundesliga veteran as well, who has moved to Everton. We're going to ask him to play some center back and full back for us and see if he can help us in Champions League. But we still don't really have the money to improve the squad so much. I mean, we have like $100 million, but you see some of these Premier League sides in the game, they get tons of money, so they're really hard to compete with. You kind of see that in Champions League. They even brought in Leroy Sané, who is available on a free 86 overall. See if he can help us, at least in the league, maybe some of the cup fixtures. But in the cup, we didn't do anything. In the league, though, is a different story. But quarterfinals against Man City, is this where we can get over the hump? But you see City's side, man. Foden, Mukoku, Torres. Nah, it wasn't enough. Eder Militao, who was more than a 90 overall. That was very difficult, obviously. But in the end, we did secure one more Bundesliga title. And it was written in the stars. Ran away with it. Bayern Munich was nowhere close to us, as we see ourselves grab another trophy here. But that's really want to thank everyone who's watched this video. Please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and you'll see, Ricardo Pepi in the end became the striker that I'm sure many people in both American soccer as well as Augsburg supporters would like to see him become. So, hey, that's what it is. We'll see that kind of the end here. Pepi, 17 goals, another good season from him. Didn't exactly have the season he had the last couple times, but yeah, solid player. He ended up being like a 95 overall. You'll see, yeah, 95 overall. If he turns in that in real life, man, might actually win a World Cup. 31 goals, 8 assists, 19 goals, 11 assists from Ferreira, D-Man, Brzincevic, some other players you saw here. So pretty awesome to see Ferreira hitting the 90 as well. But with that, guys, thank you all for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this video. I plan to have some more rebuilds out. With that, I love you. Hit the like button. I'll be signing out now, and I'll catch you guys later.